The future. It isn't some distant idea. It's right here. What if your team could spend less time searching and more time connecting? What if your newest recruiter started performing like your very best? What if your best recruiter could do 100 things at once? What if growing revenue didn't mean growing payroll? What if you let your people focus on your clients and candidates and let the process run itself? Progress has never looked quite like this. But you don't need to build the future from scratch. You just need to start. And you won't be starting alone. Here is where it begins. Engage is where people and tech come together. Because tech isn't here to replace us. It's here to amplify us, to be smarter, faster, and in control. Let's put the world to work. Welcome to Engage Boston 2025.
Please welcome Bullhorn's founder and CEO, Art Pappas.
I gotta tell you all, I love this. I do. This is like one of my favorite things of the whole year. I look forward to it. I love having everybody here in Boston. I love seeing old friends and people that I haven't seen in a long time, and customers and partners, and I love being up here for however long I get to be up here. It goes by very quickly for me. But I have to share that when I first started doing speeches at Engage, and before that, Bullhorn Live, I wasn't particularly good at getting started. And they call that in show business the cold open. And they called it that for a reason, because it's very difficult and people really struggle with it, especially when the crowd is just expecting you to come on stage and say something great. It's really, really hard. And doing anything new is really hard. But let me show you exactly what I mean when I say I struggle with the cold open. Thank you for coming. All right. I am so excited to be here. This is a huge turnout. We're blown away by the reception and how many people have come to Engage this year. This is just awesome, and I'm excited. That's a lie. I wasn't excited. I was freaking out, because I didn't know exactly how I was going to start my speech, and getting started is hard. And that's going to be relevant to what we talk about in a minute, but I want to come back to it. I want to first start and open with something that caught my eye the other day. And this really stopped me in my tracks. And what it was, big reveal, was this chart. And this chart shows job postings for software engineers. And they went way up in 2022. What a great time to be in IT staffing. But then they went way, way down. And that was peculiar, right? Like, what's causing that? Well, this person made this bold assertion that actually it's AI. That right now, software engineers using Copilot and GitHub, which is essentially coding with AI, are basically producing what a team of 5 could years ago. And so they're claiming a 500% increase in productivity. We've all heard, oh, AI can 20 and 30% increase in productivity. But if this is true, if that's why nobody's hiring engineers, that's kind of concerning and alarming. So I want to examine this a little bit, because I've seen this claim. Every week somebody new on Twitter asserts it. So let's look into it and what actually happened here. And by the way, this guy's not the only one saying it, right? All these other CEOs are saying it. Even the guy who will finance your burrito, if you want to put your chicken nuggets on layaway, he's got it set. But no, like, you've got Sam Altman, the CEO of Meta saying we're not going to need engineers, these jobs are going away. So it's not just one person, and it comes up all the time. So I want to dive in here and really sort of like dissect, like, what is this true? Is this actually what happened? I mean, there's no question that the jobs really slowed, but was it ChatGPT? Well, let's see. I don't think so. I think that there's no way that could have been causal or even related. Now, maybe out here in 2025, people are using ChatGPT, but that's not the cause of what happened. So what did happen in 2022? It's worth asking the question, what is causing the drop-off in jobs, not just in software, but other industries too? I think it's this. Interest rates. Interest rates suddenly went up for the first time. And before that, we had ZIRP, zero interest rate. Forget what the P is for, but somebody will say. Right, so we had decade of no interest at all. You could borrow money, it was free, and then all of a sudden we increased interest rates, not just in the US, but all over the world. Interest rates went way up, jobs went down. So who is to blame? Not ChatGPT, but Jerome Powell, okay? So the reason the staffing industry is struggling is this guy. So hopefully when rates go down, jobs go back up. Wouldn't that be great? I don't know what's gonna happen. People are gonna ask, but I do know that this is what the picture looks like today, which is staffing industry has been on a steady decline while GDP has been kind of pretty good, which is really weird. And this is now the third year in a row I have been saying that the staffing industry is going down. GDP is either up, flat, or slightly negative last quarter for the first time in a while. But in general, the economy does not feel the way that the staffing industry has felt. The contingent labor really feels different. And a customer said this to me, CEO of a large staffing company said, I feel like something has structurally changed. And it does feel like there's something going on in the staffing industry. So we wanted to explore that, and we partnered with McKinsey, and we wanted to go talk to the buyers of contingent labor. And we wanted to find out, has something structurally changed? And answer the question, are your views on contingent labor changed? Are they different? And so they asked, they went and interviewed a whole bunch of contingent buyers, people that hire lots and lots of staffing services. And the answer, I guess it shouldn't be surprising. It was sort of surprising during the time when there's this downturn. Everybody said staffing is strategic to their labor strategy, one. The other thing they said was that they're going to either increase or keep their staffing usage the same. So there wasn't a sense like, yeah, it's strategic, but we've used too much of it and we don't want to use it in the future. They actually want to use more of it. Okay, so you step back and you say, why? What's going on? Well, then you ask the question, why? And they say, look, we're not laying people off. And usually when we lay people off, we have to use contingent labor because we lay off too many people. Two, we're not hiring that much. And that has generally been true for the last 30 months, 36 months. Most businesses are not ramping up hiring. They're not laying off, they're not ramping up hiring. So it's just sort of like we're suspended in midair. So, okay, I can accept that. And what we've seen in the staffing indicators, things have leveled off a little bit. So does that mean we're bottoming out? We're about to have a snapback? Well, not so fast because AI is coming, right? So that chart we started with doesn't mean just because ChatGPT didn't start killing jobs back in 2022, doesn't mean that it won't. So that could be a real headwind, and that's a concern. And the question is like, is it time for me to go join? This is like a real picture that somebody took a picture and sent this to me, and I'm like, that's what I'm gonna do when the robots take over. I'm gonna go join Art Pappas, my brother from another mother, and go sell antiques. It's gonna be awesome. No, so is it really time to go buy the farm in Montana and all that? Not that anybody could afford that. But the question is, okay, so hey McKinsey, we asked again, what is gonna happen with AI? And they said, look, it's gonna eliminate some jobs. You're gonna have jobs that do go away. Some of the jobs that you all fill today will likely be pulled back in the economy, and new jobs will take their place. And so on balance, they believe that because of things like there's going to be all sorts of advancements in use of technology in healthcare, use of technology in software engineering, they're going to be building data centers, construction projects, all these things. That's going to be net good for job growth and creation, but it's going to be disruptive. But on balance, they think things should be pretty good once AI really starts to get deployed, especially in big companies. So we're just getting started on that. So does that mean we're going to have a snapback? I'll submit to you that anybody who tells you that the snapback is coming, or they know, or the snapback will come nobody knows. And I think we should stop asking, when's the market going to come back? Because you don't have to wait. What do I mean? What I mean is, you can really actually start to think about how do I perform in this climate if things don't get any better? And I've talked to a lot of customers who said, I can kind of like survive. It's not as fun as it used to be when like job orders were just easy, but I can make this work. And a lot of people are embracing that thinking, and that like, okay, this is how the industry might be. And so how do we operate? How do we live? And how do we find growth? So, okay, let's start with AI. What is the practical use of artificial intelligence in a staffing business? I'll start with the easiest use case I could think of, which is, I'm preparing for a meeting with a customer, and the old way is I go into Google. Anybody know Kelly McCrate of Hamilton Riker? Great guy. If I don't know Kelly, I can Google his name, and I'm preparing for my meeting, and up comes some really useful information about Hamilton Beach Blender, Hamilton the musical, McCrate Funeral Home. I have to sift through all that stuff, and then I can go, and there's Kelly's picture, then I can go find out who he is, and if I do more work, Google will give me, if I'm willing to spend the time, all the information I might be able to glean about Kelly to prepare for my meeting. And if I don't have a lot of time, all I'm going to know is what his background was from his bio on his website, or maybe I read his LinkedIn. The new way is that people go into ChatGPT. And people ask, tell me about Kelly. What's cool is that it reads every single link that I don't have time to read. And then it goes and it finds out. So I get his LinkedIn and all the basic bios, but it dives in, finds an interview where Kelly talked about how he owns a school of rock. Oh, wow. I love music. I've been playing music my whole life. Now I have something to talk to Kelly about when we meet. I would not have had that without ChatGPT, right? So you can see that this technology is powerful because it can go and research things that humans wouldn't normally take the time to do. Okay, so that's good. That's interesting. But what does this actually look like at a staffing firm when you apply it? What this looks like is you can have artificial intelligence screener reach out to every single candidate who applies for a job. If your recruiters did that, they would not make a single placement. You get 200 applicants to a job, 1,000 applicants to a job. If you called every single one and listened to what they had to say, you would never be successful. But AI can and does and finds really interesting things. And the thing that struck us was that the AI was willing to do the research, found somebody who didn't have Neo4j on their resume, and submitted that and said, this candidate has Neo4j experience, they just didn't put it down. And sure enough, this ended up being the ideal candidate for the client. And so the revelation is that like computers don't mind wasting their time the way humans do, right? So now we have this ability to bend time and think about all the things that people say that they don't want to do or don't have time to do, and how could your business be different if you had infinite time and the ability to go chase things that may not result in something easily, but take a lot of work. All of a sudden, it's like, for years I've been hearing, I need to refine this search. Why? Why do people want to refine a list of candidates that come back that could be a match? Because they don't want to waste their time calling all the candidates on the list, but the computer doesn't care, it'll call them all. It'll text them 5 or 6 times, it'll chase them, it will find them, it will have a conversation, it will update their resume. That's like, wow. Why don't you want to work that job? Oh, because that client's going to need like 30 submissions. AI does not mind that client. AI thinks that's a great client. Let's go fill that job. So it's a very, very different mindset when you say, let's break the bonds that are holding us back with respect to our personal time. So for years, to grow a staffing business, this was the only way. Add headcount, grow your revenue, get more job orders, fill more jobs. The more jobs you get, the more recruiters you need. That's gonna change with AI. It really is. And now you can grow your revenue without growing your headcount. And if you do add headcount, the incremental gain from each additional head is very, very large, very compelling. So, okay, so that's great, right? But back to the cold start problem. How do I get going? It's overwhelming. I've heard this over and over and over from customers. How do I start? How do I actually deploy AI? Where's the best place to deploy it? And we've been thinking about this a lot at Bullhorn. And it is a hard problem because there's so many things you could apply it to, and there's so many point solutions out there that offer, hey, we do this or we do that piece of the puzzle. And so we've been thinking a lot about this, and I'm gonna bring Matt Fisher and Jason Heilman up in a moment to talk about their vision for innovation and where they see this going. But really at the core of it, we're announcing today something I'm really excited about. It's called Amplify. And what is Amplify? Amplify is really, it's a new way to bring AI into a staffing business. It's a collection of agents and skills and behaviors that you can deploy inside your business that allow you to replicate the functions that your recruiters and your account managers perform. So it's a whole set of AI-based solutions that are packaged together in a really easy way that solves the where do I start problem, solves the cold open. And then what's great about it is that it can be deployed enterprise-wide, so you can deploy it to your entire company, but at the desk level, the recruiter or the account executive can say, that's not quite right. I don't talk to my customers that way. Or I don't want you to talk to that customer about this. Or I don't want you to do this, or I don't want you to do that. And that's really important to get adoption with AI. We've seen with our early tools, if you just start spamming people with a robot, people get very uncomfortable and they try to protect. But if you give them control, they embrace. And so the difference is, what we've seen with our early customers, and you'll hear about this, is people have said to us, we're never going back. This is a different way of working, and I don't want to go back to life without Amplify. So I'm gonna stop talking about it and bring up Matt and Jason so they can talk about it. So please give it up for Matt Fisher and Jason Heilman, everybody. Thank you so much.